then I say put a date on the calendar, because at least then it gives you something to aspire to. You can always change it. That's the great thing about it. You can change it as many times as you want, as long as you don't do it 24 hours before the date. Now, that 24-hour mark is true. How do I know? Because when my 24 hours came up, I thought I was like, I'm not ready. And I went to go and try to change it. And baby, they said, no, ma'am, you waited too late. You're testing today. It is what it is. Or you're testing the next day. So definitely say, put a date on the calendar. It holds yourself accountable. It makes you more intentional with your studying. I used social work test prep, RayTube, and Agents of Change. Of those three, I would say RayTube was the most beneficial to me. Just the way in which he teaches, it's just I grasped it easy. I loved his series of just being able to give you test questions, his series of going over the medications. I kid you not, I could never remember the medications to save my life. You can quiz me right now. I can remember I can tell you every medication, what group they fall in, what they're for. Because that's just how good he was with the repetition. And I like the way he does it. He does it in groups, so it's not overload. Agents of Change, I liked it, but it's just that one's more self-learning paced. So that, to me, it did become information overload after a while. So I did say, and I paid for the full version, but I would say again, that wasn't the most beneficial to me. I love social work test prep only because, if you guys aren't aware, the testing has changed, where now you have 2 hours for each section, and there's a 10-hour break. Where before you had the full 4 hours, there's a 2 and 2 with a 10-minute built-in break. It's not mandatory. You don't have to take the 10 minutes, but it's built in for you so that you do have some time to go refresh, where it's not costing you time like before. It would be eating into your time. Now it's not. Social work test prep, their tests are built just like the exam. So they have the 2-hour break. So that's why I love social work test prep, because even the ASWB exam isn't like it wasn't like that when I took it, and that was back in April. Now, if they've updated it, cool, but back in April, they did not have it where it broke it down into the 2 and 2. And I would say that was very beneficial for me, being able to understand when you get in there, because that 2 hours goes by fast as hell. Sorry, my bad, but it does. Like, it went by fast. That first 2 hours snuck up on me. That thing came up and said I had 20 something minutes, and I still was on like question like 50, because I was being very meticulous. And I was like, what do you mean I only got this many minutes? Like, I'm only on 50. I got 85 questions to go through. So it's 85 and 85. So so I had to kick it in gear really quick and answer the questions. Because after those first 2 hours are done, it's done. You do not have the ability to go back to those questions. Remember, with the 4 hours, we could go all the way back to question number 1. Now, those first 85, it is what it is. So if you didn't answer them the way you were supposed to, you can't go back to them. They're locked. So anything I don't want to take over everything, Tiarra. You know, I'll just talk.
You got this.
Did I have anxiety? If so, how? Yes. So how did I combat that? I went early to my testing exam. Okay. I mapped out where my exam was. It was in Dothan, which that's what I was very thankful for Pearson VUE for, because with PSI, I would have had to travel to Montgomery. So that would have involved me having to pay for a hotel, because again, I wanted to be in a place. I don't want to get in no accident trying to get, whatever. So I was very thankful for that, because Pearson VUE did give me that ability where I just had to travel to Dothan, which was like 30 minutes away. To combat my anxiety, the other thing I didn't tell anyone. No one knew I was testing. No one. My husband didn't know. No one. Like, I told him, hey, the day before, I said, hey, in the morning I'm gonna go to the gym. Then I'm gonna do a couple self-care things. And so like I'll probably be home around like 2-3:30. So no one knew. So like, and that helped me, because I'm like, if I, for some reason, if I didn't pass, it was only between me and the test. It wasn't between me and having, to explain to other people that I didn't pass. Because again, although I know it wouldn't bother them, I would feel defeated. So for me, it was an internal battle between me, myself, and God. But yeah, so I got to my test an hour early, and I sat in the parking lot. I prayed over my space. I prayed over myself. I started saying my affirmations to myself that I will pass. This will not defeat me. Um, and then I joked about it with Renita, with one of the supervisions I was in. I took my little butt up there thinking I was just gonna go check out the space. And when I went in there, the guy was like, "Oh, when is your test?" I was like, "Oh, it's at 1." No, I was like, "Oh, it's like at 8." And he was like, "Oh, you can sign up now. Like you can sign in, you can go test." I'm like, "Wait, hold on. That's not what I was here for. I was just coming in to try to case out the joint, um, hit my little prayer over the building, over y'all, and go back to my car." But no, when I walked in there, he was like, "No, like we're good. Like there's space available. You can go." And so, like, it took everything in me because I was wanting to go back to the car, but I was like, you know what? I'm here. Like, it is what it is. If I go back to that car, doubt's gonna kick in. So just go. Like, there's no time like the present. Just go. And so as I stated before, I think my biggest challenge was me. And like I said, I kept it between me. It was an internal battle between me, myself, and I. I didn't have any outside pressure from anyone about when I was testing, if I passed. It was just me. And I think that helped because when I took my LMSW, I told people. Like I told my husband, I had told a job because I had took a job, and that job was my retention of that job was on me passing that LMSW exam. So that was even more pressure than I should have placed on myself. But this one, it was honestly just me. And so that helped. That helped a lot. And then again, like I said, just being in the space, just being there, I did a little light review. And when I say light review, I didn't start going through things because again, I would not recommend that because then or trying to do a quiz like a test or something right before. Why? Because if you go to failing some of them, then you're gonna think you don't know. Don't psych yourself out. So I literally just went over like the acronyms. So like the helping process, I went over that. Like, okay, remember EAP, ITF, EAP, ITF. Oh, this is what this, and I just went over like different things like that. Like what is this theory mean? Just going over light definitions just so I could remember like if it asked me this question, this is what that will look like. Um, yeah. How different would you say? To me, I would say my LMSW exam was way harder than my LCSW one. Like that LMSW one kicked my butt. I was in there until the last second of my LMSW one. Like that one, like even when I finished that one, I didn't think I had passed that one. This one, mine I didn't get any. I didn't and I told Renita about that. Like I had went back studying. I studied all those medications for nothing. I got one medication question about an ADHD medication. Okay, that's easy. Of course we know ADHD medications. But I studied all that. I studied all the human development theories. Nothing. All of my questions were literally first, next, last, first, next, then, and of basic things like, oh, if you got someone that came in and they mentioned that they needed resources, what would you do first? That's literally all my test was on. And it shocked me, I think, because in there I kept thinking like it's gonna get harder, like something's gonna ask me something different and I'm not gonna know. And it didn't. I think the biggest thing was just the time in the beginning because that got me because I was literally going through trying to highlight every little word like I had practice, like I had studied, like make sure I highlight this, make sure I highlight that. But the test in which itself, I would say that one it was easier to me. And again, it could be as I stated, I didn't have the pressure. It was just me in the test. It wasn't nothing else. So it could be that for me. I just want to notate just that. Um But yeah, if you're anyone like me that, again, you know, you don't want to let nobody down, because it wasn't even letting myself down, it was letting other people down that I didn't, you know, do it. Because at least for me, my family, we sacrificed a lot, you know, money, time, vacation, you know. So it's like I didn't want to have to let them down if I didn't pass. No, I had 3 community questions, 3, and it was just about the process, about, you know, how would I talk to leaders? Like, how do I get leaders to come? Would I talk to this leader? Would I talk to the community? What is this called? But I only literally all of my questions were like, you got a client, they said they had issues with their family. What would you do next? Who would you refer them to? Type questions. That was it for me. Yes. So that's a good question. I was able to see that I passed. That was it. Um, well, no, 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 no. Wait. Mm-mm. Like it
It just
ended.
says
It
pass or fail.
Yeah, it just went black, and it just said I passed, but I didn't know how I passed, what it looked like, if it was by the skin of my teeth, nothing. Because they didn't give me a printout. They didn't give me nothing. It was just, oh, okay, you got a pass on the screen, and that was it. And then, like, I would say maybe 30, 45 minutes later in the parking lot is when I got the unofficial score. And then I noticed, just like I randomly went back on ASWB, and then I could see that they broke it down of like what my different subgroups were. Because I didn't even know they did that, because I never even went and looked back at that during my masters. If they did it then, I didn't know. But then I do know that they did it this time. So I can see what my questions were, my breakdown questions were. If anybody wanted to know what that was, I can show you. I can tell you what that was, what they broke down, the subgroups. I'll let you go, Tiara, now. I don't talk enough. It's almost been 30 minutes.
Not you. Not you clock checking. Hey y'all. So my process was a process. It was totally different. And it was definitely just learning. Like Renita said, I always say delayed is not denial. And this process taught me that. Um, I finished supervision like early December. At first I was like, oh, I forgot I gotta turn that in. I think it was in November, matter of fact. But it was a lot going on then. So it was just life was life. And so I was like, okay, well, let me not forget. So I was like, I have to turn it in before New Year's. I can't take this into the New Year. So let me go ahead and apply to the board. I did that. And then it was a couple of weeks that went past. So I reached out to one of the old goddesses, like, how long did it take you? And she was like, it was less than 2 weeks. I'm like, okay, well, maybe because the holidays and everything. So I was like, I'm gonna give it to the second week of January before. So they end up getting back to me. I knew my kids were gonna act up, just ignore them. They end up getting back to me, and I was denied. The first person ever to be denied the application. So I reached out to Renita. Renita, she like, how? Nobody was ever denied. And they said it was because of my employment history had changed and I did not let them know. So that was a whole pickle because they said that we had to just wait. Renita had to go to the board, and this was January. The next board meeting went to March. So I was just like, okay. So I just knew that it was a purpose of me waiting. So I was just like, okay, I'm not going to stress about it. I can't stress about it. It is what it is. Well, time went past. Renita, and it's so important that you have a great supervisor because they really times like this it showed up because I really needed her because she was just like Tiara checking in, like everything will be okay. I'm gonna advocate for you. Let's do this, anything you need. But I'm like, it's okay. I ain't studying anyway. I could just wait. So she was gonna go in March. The end of February, she texted me and she was just like, be ready. And I'm just like, okay. And basically they approved me. I'm like, what happened? She was like, don't worry about it. It's good to know people. I was like, okay. So I got my letter. I was approved. I was like, okay. So then I just didn't know what to do because I'm like, okay, do I need to stay still? What do I need to learn? So the beginning of March, I started looking into studying, and I came across RayTube, and I like his study, the way he breaks everything down. And one thing he did state is just like, put a date out there. Even if you don't use that date, put a date out there. So I was like, okay. And everybody was suggesting like 8, 12 weeks. Everybody was different. I was like, I need to get this done before the summertime hit. So I looked online. They had May 5th available. And I was like, 5/5/25. Okay. That's something. So I got selected that date, but I was just like Myliekia, I didn't tell anybody. But it was harder because I have 2 girls. My husband has started a new job, and it's only 2 people that watch my kids where they're allowed to stay. And I knew because it was 8 o'clock in the morning. All the testing sites are 90 minutes away, so I knew that I wanted to drive because it was in Montgomery. I knew that I wanted to drive up the night before and stay. So I had to check with my aunt to see if she can get that day off, to watch my girls before I actually, do it. So she said, yeah. So I went ahead and scheduled. So my schedule, I really didn't have a study plan. I kind of tuned in to RayTube every week, um, and did some questions every week. He suggests 2 questions a day, 1 practice text a month. But it was just something that was off because in my mind, I just put so much pressure on myself because I'm just thinking like, you got to get this over with instead of just, what's the purpose behind this? Like putting a name on why does this matter? I had lost sight of what's the purpose of this. In my head, I was just like, get it done, Tiarra, instead of saying, why do I need to get it done? What's the purpose? So I kind of, I was doing studying. I had my girls here. My husband working at nights. They like, mom, like my oldest said, when are you gonna be done studying? I can't wait till you take that test because I'm tired of you studying every night and not playing with us. So that was like more pressure because I'm like, oh my God, I have to. All while my mom, when I finished supervision, she had got diagnosed with stage late 3C cancer. So I'm her caregiver. So I'm like, I got to get this done. She's starting the treatment. I ain't gonna have time. So I literally started studying when I was going to chemo with her. And at the same time, my mind is just going, going, going. And she just like, calm down. I'm like, I can't. It's too much riding. It's too much going on. And I could just never ease my mind. I can get the material, but I really couldn't get the material. And I'm just like, what is going on? My anxiety is just, I'm getting more anxious. As the days approached, I had asked Ray too, because I did one of his study groups like that Sunday. But my test was Monday. I was like, how do I know if I'm ready or if I'm just anxious? He was like, well, at this point, you can't cancel it. So, if you feel like, you ready, it just may be your nerves. Like, did you take practice tests? What did you score? I was like, well, all the practice tests I did, I scored good. Like, I passed all of them. But when I was taking the practice test, I had a lot of distractors. I had the TV on. I wasn't taking it like a real live test. I was taking it with distractions. But that's just how my brain worked. So I went there. No, that night I didn't tell anybody. I told my family that I was going to Montgomery for work training. Told my husband, everybody. So I went to Montgomery that night, got a hotel, trying to do some self-care, relax. And my mind just would not shut up. I couldn't stop thinking. Okay. It was 5 o'clock in the morning before I actually went to sleep, and I had to wake up at 6. I tried everything. It just like my mind. I heard every sound outside. I heard every car that went past, and I was just too anxious. I got there. I just couldn't stop sweating. Everything was just going. I just couldn't calm myself down. I got to the test, doing some deep breathing, start answering the questions. I'm like, okay, okay, I got this. Then I'm like, hold on. My mind just kept, I'm like, these questions too easy. Something wrong. Y'all trying to trick me. So I started reading them over and over again, like, hold on, this is nothing like I study. It's too easy. Why are y'all trying to trick me? So I kept on, and then I'm like, okay. So I just literally just had a panic attack. So I was like, calm down, doing meditation, deep breathing many times. So just like Myliekia said, that 15-minute timer went off and I had almost 30 questions left. So I just freaked out and trying to skim, trying to answer questions and got to the 10-minute break. So finally 10-minute break, you got to raise your hand, go out, they got to check you in. I went to the bathroom and I just put water on my face, walked down the hallway like a maniac And then coming back, I saw another goddess. So then that added more pressure. I'm like, oh God, you see me. If I don't pass, you might, you know. So by the time I got back, they checked me in. The timer had already started again because they got to check you back in. I didn't take that into account. So I'm like, Tiarra, you got this. So the questions were good. I was answering. It was easy. And then we came across the timer again, 15 minutes. And the same thing happened where I had more than 20 questions. So I'm freaking out. I'm just like, let me get through it. I literally finished with seconds. So I had no time to go back, no time to do nothing on both ends. I had no time to go back. And when it came up, it said fail. And I said, I know you lying. Them questions was too damn easy. But I knew after, you know, my panicking, all that stuff, me rushing through those last 20 minutes on this side and 20 minutes on that half, that's what messed me up. So I'm freaking out. I called my brother. He's like, that can't be true. You like the smartest person I know. How did you fail? So then I'm like, oh, now everybody got pressure on me. Then my husband was like, well, why you didn't tell us? We could have prayed for you. I'm like, so you trying to say because y'all didn't pray for me? So I was just really upset. So I'm driving home, just upset, crying. Then I get my score email while I'm driving. I look at it, and then it made me even more upset because I failed by 1 point. And I knew what it was. It was like, I was like, and I started going in my head. I knew like the things I was just going through. It was like the questions I already knew. I had went back and changed like a couple questions. I was just freaking out. So when I finally calmed down, I had to come with a plan. I'm like, am I going to wait? Am I going to get back into it? What am I going to do? So I did a rate tube that next day. And I asked him, I'm like, what do you suggest? He's like, you need to do it while it's fresh in your brain. Try to do it within the next 30 days if you can. And I'm like, I don't know. Like, I just feel so defeated. I'm in my mind. How do I get out of it? So I just could not shake it. So I had a doctor's appointment anyway. And then I had started a new therapist like the month before, which if y'all was in supervision with me before, I have been trying to look for a therapist for years, could never match with nobody. But she is amazing. I finally found someone, just amazing, young Black woman. She's here. We just match. And I have a new physician, primary care physician. So went to the doctor and I was just like, I need something for my anxiety because I thought I was getting better, but obviously I ain't because this situation, she was like, tell me about it. So I'm talking to her and she started asking me a series of questions and started assessing me. She like, Tiarra, anybody ever told you had ADHD? I'm like, no. Like, what you mean? She was like, yeah. She was like, all those symptoms, she's like, that's why your anxiety isn't getting better because you were misdiagnosed and that medication won't help you because you got ADHD. She was like, are you forgetful? All these things. She was like, how's your testing? Like, how did you test? Do you like, you know, wait to the last minute? Remember, I was like, yeah, all these different things. She was like, yeah, that's ADHD. That's why you couldn't calm down, all those things. So she started me on medication for that. So Renita was calling me and we had to talk. So I was like, you know what? Like she always said, we need to advocate for ourselves like we advocate for our clients. So I said, you know what? Got this new diagnosis. To me, I feel like that was the reason why I failed because if I didn't, I would have never went back and asked to be reassessed for anxiety. I would have never knew I had this diagnosis. So I would have never knew how to go about things. So I asked her, I said, okay, I did the paperwork for accommodations. During the same time, my new therapist had diagnosed me as well. She's like, Tiarra, you have ADHD. That's why your brain. She basically was like, you have a Ferrari, but you have bicycle brakes. So she was just telling me like organization, like she's been working with me, all these things I have. So I was like, okay. So I got accommodations. And then out of nowhere, they usually say they take 2 weeks, but mine's got approved like so quick. So I'm like, okay, it's just aligning. I got the accommodations approved. It was like the week before. I looked online. They had like June 3rd and then the late July. I asked my friend, the other person who I asked watch my kids, can you watch them? And she said, yeah. But then that was my daughter's birthday. So I was like, should I go? Should I not? I'm like, she would appreciate me going. So I was like, okay, I'll do it. So I took them over there tonight. I didn't stay at a hotel. I stayed at home. I just left my house early to just when I driving the whole way, I just listened to meditation music, gospel music, affirmations, and just looked at it at a different from a different outlook. It wasn't that I gotta pass, I gotta pass, I gotta pass. I'm going to pass this because I put a name on it. I was able to calm my mind. I was able to say, why was it important to me, instead of I got to do it because life is happening and I don't have no options. Because that's where I was going at first. I got to do it because I got to take care of my mom. I got to do it because I got to take care of my kids. I wasn't doing it for Tiarra at that point. But this time when I went in, I was doing it for Tiarra. But this time the question was harder. And I was just like, what is this? But I just talked myself through it. That extra time helped immensely. I'm on the phone, ma'am. That extra time helped immensely, and I used every bit of it. And I was so thankful that I advocated for myself, that I asked for it, that I didn't let it hinder me. It was like, oh, no, I needed it because I was able to stop and think. I was able to, I wasn't feeling the pressure of I got to hurry up because the time is ticking. I was able to read through it and go back and look at my answers. Um, so I passed, and it was just like I knew what I was doing the whole way, but everything happens for a reason. Everything happens for a reason. I knew, that test, it taught me so much. Like, you know, it taught me so much. It taught me to slow down. It taught me to name things. It taught me why I'm doing this. It brought me back to the reason why I'm in this field. Instead of just rushing through it and just, it's not just a check mark. It's just not just another accomplishment. This is something, we're doing this for more than just saying we did it. So I had to have that. I had to go through that to understand that, to get back to that point of why I'm doing this. So, yeah, my experience was a little different, but I wouldn't change it. I wouldn't change one thing about it because it taught me, it made me realize my superpowers. It made me learn how to do life and focus on things different when it comes to organization, all those different things. I would have never known this if I didn't fail that first time. By that one point, because I'm still mad because of 1 point. And it was just too easy. I'm like, hold on, I know this. So that second test was even harder, but I passed that one. So I was just like, I knew everything. It was just alignment. And then I passed on my baby birthday. So I was like, okay, we can do this. But yeah, that's the main. If I tell you anything, you got to get out your head. You got to figure out, put a name on it. Why are you doing this? It's not just to check the box off. It's just not, oh, I got to do it because I finished supervision. This the next thing. Sometimes we have to sit in it before we go to the next thing. Like everybody asks me, like, what are you gonna do next? What are you gonna? I'm sitting right now. I don't have any plans. I'm just right here right now because life is still life and I'm still figuring out, but I'm good right now. When it comes to me, it's gonna come to me, but I'm not in a hurry to just do something just because I have another initial on my name. Mm-mm. I get it. I'm glad it is done and I don't have to go through it again, but I'm not in a rush to just do something just to say I'm doing it. And I think sometimes we do that because we feel like, oh, we did this, we got to hurry up and do it. If you want to sit a cup, do it. Do what's best for you. Don't ever do it because a timeline. That's just like going back to where you got to be married while you're 30 and have a baby. No, do it on your own timeline. That's the most important. Okay, that's the end of my soapbox.
I'm so proud of you, Tiara. I really am. I'm over here. Look, I can't even contain my smile because I am. You're my girl, and I'm so proud of you. I love it that, ironically enough, because you said you did your test on June 3rd. I took my test on May 3rd and passed mine, and a month later you passed yours. I think that's just funny. But I'm so proud of you, especially for advocating for yourself and the fact that, again, you realize that you have a diagnosis that now you can manage. And again, as you stated, you put a name on something for you to be able to support yourself. And I agree with Tiara. Now that I've gotten mine done, I was talking to Renita about it because I came back for supervision for my Texas license, and I was like, I'm not doing anything with this. Um, like I don't want to do anything with it. I'm just happy that it's done. And I'm just focusing on where I am currently in my career and just nourishing that piece of me. Because I'm like, once, as Sierra said, once something comes about that's needed for it, it will be for me. I don't want to just go applying to things because I have my LICSW, and it's like, oh, now this is available to me, so let me just apply, and it ain't where I'm supposed to be, and it's not where I want to be. So right now, I've honestly just been sitting. I'm enjoying my job. Um, they did give me a little bit more money now that they know I'm fully licensed. So that was nice. But and that I didn't even have to ask for. I told my boss I passed and she went and advocated for me and got the money. So that's nice. But honestly, I'm just it's a bittersweet feeling because I told Renita that I thought I would feel something different. And it's I don't like it's just like, oh, okay. I knew I was gonna have it. Like I knew this was gonna be a part of my life, but it's like, okay. I wanted some I don't know. I thought it was gonna be a zing and it's just like, okay, you did that. Um, but you've been doing that. And I think that's what it was. It's just a reinforcement that I've always been this social worker. Now I just have the letters, but it didn't change who I am in the field. It doesn't change the impact that I've had on people, and it won't change the impact that I will continue to have or the change agent that I'll continue to be with or without the letters. And I would say that's one thing that Ray 2 preaches a lot is that do not let that test define who you are as a social worker. Like that test doesn't say that you're a bad social worker just because you can't pass that test. Like that doesn't mean that you don't belong in the field just because you didn't pass that test. And I think I love that about him because he sticks to that. Like, and there's people in that group, they're like, oh bro, this is my 10th time. I just passed it. And everybody's still congratulating, like, oh, good job, good job. Nobody's like, oh, well, that's your 10th time, so it really don't count. Like, no, everybody's still uplifting each other to keep pushing and to keep trying. And I think for me, it's just seeing that they are trying to make changes to the test so that, it won't be as hard. Like I've seen certain states, they're taking it out from the master's level that you only have to test one time, which I think is even a nice thing to do, that you don't have to test 2 times to be able to be considered, I guess, a social worker. Because some people say that too. If you're not licensed, then you're not a social worker. But again, that's neither here nor there.
Yeah. And with my experience, it really taught me because I remember afterwards, my daughter asked me like, something happened and she was trying to give up, and I was just like, we can't give up if you fall. I was like, mommy didn't pass her test, and she was like, you did, and I was like, yeah, but I'm gonna take it again. Like it's okay. And she was like, I'm proud of you. And then when she asked me, when I took it the second time, I let them know. Everybody knew this time. And my mom told her, I'm praying for my mom. I hope she passes this time because she really wants it. So, just to show them, like, I ain't giving up. I don't care. Like, if that, we're gonna go back to the drawing board. Like, you got to know why. And that sets the tone for everything. But just trying to do it just to get it done because, oh, I want to get done before summer. We got this going on. We got a trip. Because that's what I was thinking. Like, I got to get done. And that's like, God, like, what you really doing this for? I'm going to sit you back down. And he did. And I learned. And within that month, I learned a lot. So, yeah. Realize your what and your why.
Any
How
other? Oh, you got it.
First off, congratulations to both of you. This has been really all inspiring, especially as I'm preparing. Like I've been getting the butterflies and getting the self-doubt, and both of your stories have been so inspiring. Thank you so much for taking the time to just share your story. My question is, how long would you guys recommend studying? Is it like a 3 month, 6 month? What feels best for both of you guys?
I would say to you, you know, like honestly, you're never gonna feel like you studied enough. You're not. Like when I went to take that test, I didn't feel like I studied enough, but I felt prepared. That's what I felt prepared that I could answer the questions. It wasn't if you're studying to make sure that you know everything, that's not gonna do any good. I studied enough till I was like, I'm prepared. Like I can answer the question and I don't like I'm secure in my answer. Like when I put that answer down, I'm okay that yeah, I know where I got that answer from, if that makes sense. Because yeah, some of my practice tests I passed I did good on them, and sometimes I would take a practice test over something I know I knew and I didn't do good on. So I would just say you study to be able to confidently answer your questions. Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree. I feel like when I initially did studying, I feel like I overstudied, and that kind of took away. When I was talking about it with Renita, when I first started studying, I kind of stopped everything else. I logged out of social media. I took a social media break, but which was good, which because I wanted the time I spent on social media, I used that for studying. But I stopped doing everything. Like I stopped working out, just all the extracurriculars, and that's what I think really took me off as well. Because it's like, and that's what Renita, she was like, ADHD, you have to work out, you have to have a routine, you have to keep doing that. And I was like, oh, she was like, that's why, your brain is so, you're just going, your brain is keep going, it can't calm down. So, study, but don't feel like you have to overdo it. Don't make it your life. Because I used to be up at night taking tests, and it was just too excessive. And find out, first of all, just find out your study. If it's audio, if it's visual, if it's more just PowerPoints. Because I did Agents of Change, I did RayTube, I did Pocket Prep. But when I go back, RayTube was the best because I have to listen to it. I have to play it out, like the acronyms, all those things, the way he do it. He doesn't record anything. It's all live. But that helped because the PowerPoints and all that doesn't help. So just find out the way you study, what's best for you, and just kind of create a plan, based on that. Don't overstudy though, because you ain't gonna never know. You ain't gonna never feel like you're ready. But take more. I feel like taking my friend. She just took her LM and she was asking me, and I told her, I said, stop doing so much recall and focus on practice tests. And she started just focusing on practice tests, and she passed her LM yesterday. So I think that's a big thing because just taking those practice tests, the rationale, because they changed a lot of those questions. Like with my LM, they used to be longer, but now they having like questions like one sentence. It's like, what? So they changed the format. So try to find like questions, practice questions that are more like the new format, the shorter questions. And I know Ray, that's why I like him, because his questions are more shorter. He has a free study group every month, and he also do like 5 for 5, where he does like 5 questions for $5. He does that like twice a month, and it's more than 5 questions, and you get your 5. I don't understand why he charges $5. He really just does stuff because he want every social worker to be the best self. Because though is worth more than $5, and he breaks it down. Some of them questions I felt like was on the exam doing versus like any other test I took. So just find out the way you study and go from there. I wouldn't do over 3 months though, because this stuff. You know it. Just get out your head. The stuff is like literally what we do. It's kind of like in the field stuff. It's not a lot of recall as we think. They kind of throw in some stuff, but it's more just your job.
Both Alicia and Shandrika, y'all had unmuted yourselves earlier. Alicia or Shandrika?
I was just saying this is very inspiring because I know when I study, I'm like, I don't know what to study. And so I feel like that overload gets to me too. And I have ADHD too. So I'm taking meds trying to focus too. So I love what you said to actually try to stay to a routine and not just studying. So I will take that into consideration for me to help. So thank y'all.
Shandrika?
I actually typed mine in the chat box, but I will say I think both of your stories are very inspiring, and congratulations on passing your test.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank y'all. I know we all gonna have it. Like it's coming. Like we all will have it. We've all went under the supervision of Renita. So there's no way we're not gonna have it. Like, I about to say I give you your flowers too, Renita, because I don't think I probably would have been felt confident enough to take my test under the supervision I had before. So I agree with Tiara. Everything has a purpose. Because if you know my story, you know that I should have had my license 2 years ago. But that supervisor, yeah. So again, everything happened for a reason because I got to meet this group of women. I'm so ready, inspired, and pumped to see all of y'all get y'all licensures. Because yeah, they're ours. Like you just waiting to pick them up. They belong to us. Y'all just waiting to pick them up, and it will be your time soon where it'll be put in your pocketbook.
What you mean? What we do after we pass? Like celebration or like what?
Yeah, like celebration or self care. I know when I passed my LMSW, I was just in shock for a day and I took off work. So I'm like, what did you all do after you pass your test, your LCSW?
I called my husband. Like I literally went outside. I called my husband because like when I got my phone out of the locker, I seen that he had like text and called like crazy, trying to. He was like, "Are you okay? Are you okay? Like where are you?" So I texted and called him and I said, "Guess what? I passed." And he like his protective mode was in because he was like, what are you talking about? Like, where are you? Because he's like concerned because he couldn't get a hold of me. And I'm like, I went to take my test. And then it clicked and he was like, oh my God, babe, like that's so great. Like, hurry back home so we can go to dinner. Like, so that felt good. And then like the first thing I did, I came home, because I had bought shirts. I put my shirt on and I took a picture with my baby. And I was like, I was just proud to like be able to share that moment with my daughter. And she was so excited because she was like, Mommy, you so cute. And I was like, thank you. That was just it.
I do have another question. Um, is there a certain time frame? Do you have to wait to receive something in the mail before you start signing with your new credentialing? Because I know at our job, is it something you have to prove to them before you start signing differently?
I know for me, I think again, I didn't really check to see like when it like came about. I think I passed on the 3rd. I think by that Monday, it was actually showing in the system because I passed on the weekend. So by the 5th, that's what my actual license said from the state of Alabama. So I didn't say anything like official until I got my actual license. But I don't know. Renita would be better off for that question if there is a waiting period. I just waited until I got my actual license in the mail.
Yeah, my license took maybe like 2 weeks. Well, I'm in Georgia. But when I looked at it, I passed on the 3rd. I think they approved it. I think it said I want to say the 9th. But it's just, the shipping and everything, it took time. So they say unofficial score, but it doesn't take that long. But yeah.
Tiara, did you do anything, to go back to Quinn's question, did you do anything afterwards?
No, I feel like it still hasn't hit me. Like it hit me like I was supposed to do like some new headshots, but then it rained. Because I'm like, my husband's like, you gotta celebrate yourself. And I'm like, I know. And then my friend's like, you gotta celebrate yourself. I'm like, I know. But June was just such a busy month. Like both like I said, that was my daughter's birthday, then my other daughter's birthday, and then Father's Day. So of course. But then my birthday was at the end of the month. I feel like I celebrated myself then. We went to a spa. Um, I got a hotel without the kids. I spent 2 days, which was my first time ever spending 2 whole days away from my kids. And that time I kind of just soaked in it and just celebrated everything. So I kind of celebrated a new year because that was my goal to have my license before my birthday. So I celebrated New Year. I celebrated, this new journey all in one. And it was just meditating and spending time in alone and just spending time in gratitude. Like everybody was asking me and I was just like, gratitude is just hitting me so much. Like that's the theme. Like I'm just everything that I once prayed for is here. And I'm just like, it just feels so good to be in this space. So I think just that gratitude, just all that joy had hit me at that moment. And I just was sitting there and I was just like, I couldn't stop crying. They had the towel over my face while I'm getting getting this foot massage, and I couldn't stop crying because everything, it just hit me at that time. So just sitting in that gratitude, just leaning into it and just loving on myself and appreciating, the journey, appreciating, everything that I put into it, that I deserve this. I think at that point, I realized I deserved it because I worked damn hard for everything. Nothing was handed to me. So yeah, that was the celebration for me, just knowing that I deserved it.
I don't think it get any better than this. I don't think it gets any better than this at all. I'm so proud of both of you. So proud of both of you. And I actually, it was funny, Myliekia and Tiarra, that y'all both said that, because the post that I put in Circle this morning was that I hear so much from, from students who graduate with their BSW or MSW, getting their LMSW and their clinical. You just keep going, because I feel like in my life, I get top tier social workers. I only attract people who my energy is top tier, so I only attract top tier, right? So when you're on that level, it's just accomplishment after accomplishment after accomplishment. And being able to just stop and be like, you know what? Let me just look at this mountaintop that I'm on and look back and see all that I've already accomplished and just say thank you. Thank you to whoever it is that's bigger than us up there. Thank you to ourselves in particular. Because Tiarra, I knew you in 2016 and you look like a completely different person. Do you want to speak to that?
I am, I am different, and yeah, it's grace. Yeah.
Grace. And
Mhm.
grace is unmerited favor, y'all. And each of us have it. And each of us have it. Each of us have it. And that doesn't feel good. I love it. All right. Oh, I'm gonna put in the chat real quick. I'm on this laptop. Look, in the chat, I have put the circle link. Please, it's, if you're currently in supervision, I'm just softly saying it's mandatory. So if you're not in there, go ahead and join it. I'm even going to put a discussion about what we talked tonight. So love to see you engage in that discussion. But also Myliekia and Tiarra, I know Tiarra, I've seen you on it, seen you. But if you're not on it, it was created for the Goddess alumni. And so we're going to be doing something special with you guys as you guys start to join as well. I don't think it can get any better than this. Y'all keep showing up. Seriously, keep showing up. Know that these 2 years are going to fly by. Even if you're having senioritis, because a bunch of you are about to be finishing up this year, still just keep showing up. And you're going to be looking back on this mountain like, wow, I did that. I kept showing up. I kept showing up for myself, because that's what y'all are doing. Y'all are showing up for yourselves. Man, if that's not the best kind of self-love, I don't know what is. All right, Myliekia and Tiarra, y'all filled my cup today. And so very grateful for y'all coming back. And I'm going to have you come back for some more stuff too. So, this isn't the last one, but I'm so proud of you. And I'm so proud of you for taking a pause and making sure that you don't just take the first thing. That's one of the things I've been talking about lately. You don't just take the first thing, because that's what will happen. You get your clinical license and things will come out of the woodwork, and then other people have plans for your license. You make sure that you take the time to figure out what's in alignment for you, and then you go and do that thing, okay? I know you already said that. All right, y'all. I love y'all so much. Bye.